Welcome back to the home of deep storytelling, the only place where we look past the flashbulbs to find the human soul hiding in the shadows. This is whatever you need. In the noisy, chaotic theater of celebrity culture, we are conditioned to expect the crash. We are trained to look for the explosion, the deleted photos, the cryptic captions, the unfollow sprees, and the public accusations that turn a romance into a battlefield. But what happens when the most powerful statement is made without a single word being spoken? What happens when a breakup isn't a destruction, but a quiet, deliberate reconstruction? For weeks, the international gossip columns have been chasing ghosts. They have been hunting for a scandal involving two of the most scrutinized names in the industry, the Turkish titan, Yaman, and the enigmatic artist, Sara Bluma. The rumors have swirled like a winter storm, asking the same question over and over: is the love over? Today, we can say with some certainty that yes, the romantic chapter has closed. But if you think that is where the story ends, you are looking at the wrong page. This is not a story about an ending. This is a story about two adults who have chosen to redefine what it means to say goodbye. It is a story about a woman reclaiming her narrative through images of joy, and a man who refuses to let his private life become public currency. Today on Whatever You Need, we are going to decode the silence. We will analyze the visual manifesto Sara Bluma has published, the stoic discipline of Yaman, and the fascinating new dynamic that has emerged between them. But before we step into this quiet revolution, I have a question for you. Do you believe that silence is a sign of indifference, or is it the ultimate sign of respect? Can two people truly separate without tearing each other apart? If you value these mature, in-depth analyses of the stars you love, please ensure you are subscribed to Whatever You Need. And for those of you who want to go deeper, who want to support independent journalism, and get closer to our creative process, the join button is waiting for you below. Your membership allows us to keep asking the hard questions. Now, let's listen to the sound of a dignified goodbye. To understand the separation, we must first revisit the union. From the very beginning, the relationship between Yaman and Sara Bluma was a study in contrast. Ken, the disciplined actor, a man whose life is regimented by call times, gym schedules, and the immense weight of international expectations. Sara, the free spirit, a figure defined by music, artistic fluidity, and a social circle that thrived on spontaneity. When they collided, the press dubbed it the harmony of opposites. It was a romance that didn't follow the usual script. There were no orchestrated red carpet walks designed to sell a project. There were no synchronized interviews where they finished each other's sentences. It was a relationship that seemed to exist in the pockets of time between their disparate worlds. It was about living in the moment. And perhaps that is why the conclusion of this romance mirrors its beginning so perfectly. The separation has been shrouded in a velvet silence. There were no fights leaked to the tabloids. There were no sources close to the couple spilling venomous details. It was a silent separation, a gradual uncoupling of two lives that had briefly run parallel. In the gossip columns, this lack of drama has generated confusion. People are asking, is this a breakup, or is this just a conscious withdrawal? The answer seems to be that it is a breakup, but one so mature that it feels alien to a world addicted to drama. In the vacuum left by the lack of official statements, the world turned its eyes to Sara Bluma's Instagram. The expectation was high. The paparazzi and the fans were waiting for the revenge dress, the heartbroken song lyrics, or the cryptic quotes about betrayal. But Sara Bluma did not give them the narrative they wanted. Instead, she gave them a visual manifesto of peace. She began to speak through images, and those images told a story of vibrant, undeniable life. We saw snapshots of a theme park, believed to be Gardaland, one of Italy's most iconic playgrounds of joy. We saw children standing in wonder before the blue glow of a massive aquarium. We heard the echo of laughter in video clips. Even when Sara herself wasn't in the frame, her presence was felt in the composition of the shots. Despite the chill of winter, the color palette of her life remained warm, saturated, and full of hope. These were not the posts of a woman in mourning. These were the posts of a woman who was actively choosing joy. The message was subtle but powerful: life goes on. And I have changed my approach to it. She wasn't ignoring the pain, she was simply refusing to let it define her digital footprint. Within this visual diary, a specific theme began to emerge with crystal clarity: motherhood. But this was not the traditional, often restrictive narrative of the self-sacrificing mother that celebrity culture often imposes on women. This was a portrayal of modern, conscious, and empowered parenting. Sara Bluma showcased moments of solitude with her child, taking him to educational environments, allowing him to connect with the raw beauty of nature, and facilitating interactions with animals. It was a quiet, diligent dismantling of the prejudices that had plagued her in the past. Critics had often labeled her as too free, irresponsible, or a woman of fleeting whims. Without typing a single paragraph of defense, Sara refuted these labels. She showed the world that freedom and responsibility are not mutually exclusive. By focusing her lens on the innocence of her child and the stability of their bond, she silenced the gossip without ever engaging with it. She didn't need to issue a press release stating she was a good mother, she simply showed us the reality of her days. It was a masterclass in controlling one's own narrative. This shift in Sara's public image is fascinating. It raises a question about how we judge women in the public eye. I want to ask the whatever you need community. Do you think social media is the best way for a celebrity to reclaim their identity after a breakup, or is it better to stay completely offline? While you ponder that, please take a second to hit the like button on this video. It helps our channel grow and allows us to bring you more of these detailed stories. And if you really want to support our mission, consider clicking the join button. Members get special badges and priority responses in the comments. Your support is the engine of whatever you need. There was another detail in Sara's recent posts that did not escape the notice of the sharp-eyed observers in the gossip community: a kitten. Specifically, a British Shorthair. Now, to the casual observer, a new pet might seem like a trivial detail. But in the lexicon of celebrity symbolism, introducing an animal into the home is a profound statement. When a person, especially one recovering from a separation, brings a pet into their life, they are sending a signal of settling down. They are saying, I am establishing roots. I am building a safe space. A kitten requires care, routine, and a gentle environment. Sara Bluma's new philosophy of life was encoded in the soft fur of that creature. She is building a warm, stable, and loving world. It is a world where she is the architect, and where the chaos of the outside world is not invited. Alongside the domestic tranquility, there was a professional resurgence. Sara Bluma returned to the DJ booth. But this return to the stage felt different. It wasn't a frantic attempt to stay relevant, it was a measured, artistic statement. She demonstrated clearly that she had never abandoned her musical identity for the sake of a relationship. But the Sara Bluma behind the decks now seems more selective, more controlled, and more personal in her sets. She is no longer just Yaman's girlfriend, or the ex, she is a woman who has built her own sonic space. This inevitably raises the question, was the relationship with Yaman a turning point for her? The evidence suggests yes. But it wasn't a turning point of loss, it was a turning point of learning. She seems to have taken the intensity of that chapter and transmuted it into a more focused, grounded version of herself. And what of Yaman? In the face of this subtle transformation from his former partner, what did the Turkish star do? The answer is as consistent as it is impressive: he did nothing. There were no shady hints dropped in Instagram stories. There were no anonymous complaints leaked to friendly journalists. There were no emotional, tear-filled interviews. Yaman maintained the stance that has become his trademark: absolute silence and professional distance. This attitude is crucial. It reinforces the interpretation that the breakup was not a conflict but a conclusion. By refusing to feed the beast of gossip, Yaman protected the dignity of what they had shared. His silence suggests a breakup that was mature, controlled, and based on a foundation of mutual respect that survived the romance itself. He continued his work in Italy, his training, and his charitable endeavors, proving that his center of gravity remains within himself. One of the most compelling claims circulating in the more reputable gossip columns is a theory that defies the binary of together or broken up. Insiders suggest that while Yaman and Sara Bluma are no longer a romantic item, they haven't completely severed ties. This isn't the messy ex-lover dynamic where texts are sent at 2 a.m. It is described as a distant, mature communication. It is the concept of being available when needed, of not denying the past but not clinging to it. It is the possibility of a proper adult friendship that exists outside the glare of the cameras. The most impactful thing about this story isn't the breakup itself, it is the path they chose afterward. Sara didn't create a victim narrative. Ken didn't adopt a cold, erasive hard line. They simply returned to their roots. Sara spoke through motherhood and music, Ken spoke through discipline and work. Perhaps that is why this breakup is generating so much discussion, because no one erased anyone. It is a rare example of two people winning not by staying together, but by returning to themselves. In conclusion, the saga of Yaman and Sara Bluma didn't turn into the tragedy many expected. It became a story of maturation. Sara Bluma repositioned herself as a mother, an artist, and a woman of substance, sending a discreet but powerful message: I am here, and I am fine. Yaman proved once again that his professionalism is armor-plated, protecting his private life with unwavering resolve. This isn't a story of a fight, it is the story of a goodbye. There is no great drama here, no hints of a tearful reconciliation. Just two people parting ways without denying the validity of what they once had. And perhaps the clearest truth is this breakup didn't diminish anyone. On the contrary, it brought both parties closer to the truest versions of their own lives. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive on whatever you need. We hope this story gave you a new perspective on how to handle endings with grace. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and let us know. Do you admire their silence, or do you prefer it when celebrities explain their side of the story? And don't forget to click that join button to support our channel and keep these stories coming. Until next time, remember that sometimes the quietest moves are the most powerful. Goodbye.